discuss the classic theories of the growth and development. And then we're going to try to explain each strands of thoughts. May apat nga sabi ko sa inyo, pero dalawa lang ang itatakal natin today. And then we're going to apply the theories in real life situation, as in a country. Wala akong kwento, but rather I want you to imagine a small, an island. Okay? Just imagine this island na merong 50 families. Okay? Nai-imagine na ba? So, yan. Gagamitin ko yung island na yan para mas maintindihan nyo yung iba't ibang mga theories na pag-aaralan natin today. Okay? So, imagine an island with at least 50 families. Okay? Next. The classic theories of economic development, these are the four approaches. Actually, nabuo ang mga approaches nito, ang mga theories at saka models in economic growth, after the World War II. So this is post-World War II. So kung yung mga literature na to, as in, they are all about on economic development, okay, ang mga nag-dominate kasi itong apat na to. The first one is linear stages of growth model, or linear growth model, or linear growth theory. Ayan, iba-iba yung mga names pero they mean the same, okay? The second one is theories and patterns of structural change. Minsan it is also called as a structural theory or structural change theory. Meron din, the third one is international dependence revolution. Sometimes it is also called the dependence theory. Okay? And the last one is the neoclassical. It is a free market counter-evolution. These are the four approaches that we're going to talk about until next week before your prelim. Okay? Let's start with the linear growth. Madaming mga theories and models under the linear growth, pero mag-focus lang tayo sa dalawa. The first one is from Rostow. Okay? One of the first growth theories was actually proposed by this American economic historian, okay? Walt White Rostow, in the early 1960s as a vigorous advocate of free market capitalism. Rostow argued that economies must go through a number of development stages towards greater economic growth. Sabi pa nga niya, parang naka-logical sequence daw itong mga to. There are five stages ang sinasabi ni Rostow. So, prerequisite ang lahat. Kumbaga, tapusin mo muna ang stage na to bago ka makapunta sa stage na to. So, you really have to undergo two different stages. These stages are four economies, okay? Ito daw yung mga pwedeng pagdaanan ng isang ekonomiya. Okay? That's why I let you imagine an island with 50 families. Okay? Because we're going to start from there. Para maintindihan nyo, ano ba tong Walt Rostow theory? Okay? Ang mga stages of development niya, the first one is the traditional society. Okay? Mainly use subsistence farming and have little surplus outputs to sell. Okay? Imagine niyo yung island na yon, okay? Kung nasa traditional society siya, meron pa siyang subsistence farming. That means they only produce what they need. Ganun ang subsistence farming. Kumbaga, kung ano yung kakainin nila, yun lang ang itatanim nila. Kung ano yung kakailanganin nila, yun lang ang ipoproduce nila. That is subsistence farming. Sabi niya, and have little surplus outputs to sell. Kung may sobra man sila, not much. Tapos, within the traditional society daw, wala pang money. Okay? Barter system pa ang economic system nila. So, ganun ka-minimal ang economic activities nila. Para bang yung kapitbahay mo, o parang ganito lang, hoy Mare, may kamatis ka ba dyan? Palitan ko na lang ng sibuyas. Okay? So parang ganun lang ang traditional society within that island, ha? And then there is a limited ability for growth due to lack of modern technology. Kasi manual labor ang ginagawa nila dito. Tapos, umiikot sa agriculture ang kanilang sistema, ang kanilang kinabubuhay. So that is the traditional society. Ayun, kaya sinabi ko kanina, trade is done locally. Kaya sinabi ko, parang nangihiram ka lang ng something kay kumare mo, sa kapitbahay mo, tapos papalitan mo na lang ng ganito. Yung gano'n. Mare, nakapanghuli ako ng isda. Meron ako dito. Sobrang tatlo pa. Baka gusto mong palitan ng dalawang piraso ng manok or something like that. Or 5 pirasong itlog. So, ganon ang traditional society. The preconditions for take-up. After that development, after that stage, the next stage is precondition. So, by the way, before I forget, sa traditional society, meron namang silang government. May politics, pero hindi pa ganun ka-highlighted yung kanilang role. So, oo, may nagli-lead sa kanila, pero hindi ganun ka-significant. Kasi nga, they only produce what they really need. Okay? Pero dito sa preconditions for take-off, na-highlight na yung isang leader. Okay? Dito sabi niya, industrial and manufacturing society begins. Na kung saan, siguro sabi ni leader, mga mga kababayan, you have to create more. Mag-produce na tayo ng sobra. Dagdagan nyo yung pagtatanim nyo ng kamatis, ng sibuyas, etc. Okay? Wag lang yung gagamitin nyo. Mag-produce na kayo ng mas marami pa doon. Kasi ibebenta natin sa kabilang island. So, ganun yun. That's why trade expands overseas, creating an international market. Total friends naman tayo dun sa kabilang island. Bentahan natin sila. Okay, this stage is the preparation for takeoff. And then agriculture becomes commercialized. So as in, agricultural products talagang pinupush nila kasi ibebenta nila sa katabing island. The next one is takeoff. Okay, productive investment. Dito, mag-start ng kikita ang government. Okay? Kasi meron na talagang economic activities na nangyayari. Tapos within the island, meron na ring bentahan na nangyayari. Kasi meron na ring form of exchange, which is money. Tapos nadaragdagan na yung mga islands na gusto nilang bentahan. Okay? Technological breakthroughs occur. Okay? Occur. For example, the Great Britain's Industrial Revolution. Sa history nyo, if you will try to remember it, yung textile industry, yung power loom, yung spinning jenny and sewing machine. Okay? So, nung mag-start ng magkaroon ng ganyan during those times in Great Britain, ayun, it's the start of their take-off as well. Okay? Kung baga, mas dumami na yung pag-produce nila ng kung raw materials lang from the agricultural products, nag-start na rin silang mag-produce ng intermediate products. Remember the cotton I told you? Yung kung dati cotton lang, nag-harvest lang sila ng cotton, and then they added labor para magkaroon ng thread or tela. And then that tela can be can be traded. Okay? Pwedeng dun pwede sa kabilang island. Okay? So the next one is drive to maturity. So ituglong ko lang doon, kung nakakagawa na sila ng thread at tela, dito as in they can produce the final output already. Tapos dumarami na ang manufacturing, lumalaki na ang manufacturing industry, lumarami na ang mga factories, machineries, okay? They are producing more equipment as well. Okay? Na kung saan they are producing not just the intermediate products, kung hindi pati na yung final products. Tapos mas lalong dumami yung mga islands na gusto nilang pagbentahan. Tapos more growing economic growing economy in terms of productivity ng mga tao. Kasi they're not just farming, but this time they're also what do you call this? Spend their service through the manufacturing industry. Okay, according to Rostow, this drive to maturity is the period when a society has effectively applied the range of modern technology. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, meron ng factories dito, meron ng equipment, meron ng machineries. Okay, and then the last stage is the high mass consumption. Uh, Ayan, high valued goods become normalized to purchase. Kumbaga hindi na basic needs lang ang pinapurchase ng tao dito. Okay? Papunta ng luxury ito. So tapos kung agricultural ang rural ang area nila, it's becoming urbanized. Okay? And then society is able to focus on social needs of the people, like security and military, what else? Equality, and even welfare issues. Okay? Dito na mas nagkakaroon ng mga malalakihang malls, grocery stores. So as in, hindi na lang basta basic needs ang kinokonsume ng tao. Okay? And then, kumbaga, this is the part na develop ng isang economy. Okay? Tapos meron ng tertiary sector. Ang tertiary sector, this is something to do with researches, someone who gives their service by using their minds, okay, through researches, innovations, okay, and inventions as well. Okay? Kung titignan nyo, ganyan yan eh. Ayan, look at the diagram. From traditional society, ayan, that's how it is being described. Traditional society, limited technology, static society. Sa preconditions, commercial exploitation of agriculture and extractive industry. On the takeoff, development of manufacturing sector. And then drive to maturity, wider industrial and commercial base. And then the last one is high mass consumption. So sinasabi ni Rostow, lahat daw ng economies pagdadaanan ito. Okay? Lahat ng mga bansa pagdadaanan ito. Kaya lang, may mga criticisms regarding this theory of Rostow's development stages. According to other economists, ang isa sa mga binubutas nila sa development stage ni Rostow is hindi daw applicable sa lahat ng countries or sa lahat ng economies ang development stages ni Rostow. Oo, they may had experienced traditional society, kaya lang if we will look back sa history, remember imperialism, yung mga imperialist country like Spain, Portugal, France, ano pa ba? The Netherlands, the Great Britain. Okay? Those are the few, some of the few countries, mga imperialist countries na nag-colonize ng iba't ibang African and Asian countries. Yun ang pinapoint out ng ibang economists. Sa traditional daw, na-experience ng mga bansang yon. Okay? Tapos dun sa part ng preconditions, okay, hindi nila in-exploit yung sarili nilang agriculture or agricultural sector. Okay? Na-exploit man nila, nung naubos, nag-colonize sila, at yung mga colonies nila, sila yung nag-provide ng mga agricultural sector nila. Kasi nga, naghanap ang mga imperialist country ng mga bansang may mayayaman sa natural resources. Tapos hindi ba, they even took other slaves from Africa para ilagay sa mga manufacturing industries nila, sa mga factories nila. So yan ang isa sa mga, kumbaga ngayon, kaya kung titignan daw, most of the developing economies and poor economies were actually were actually colonized by these imperialist countries, by these countries, by these developed countries. Itong mga itong mga developed countries na to. Okay, kumbaga, sila yung nakapag-exploit ng mga natural resources ng mga bansang developing pa lang ngayon or even underdeveloped pa talaga. Okay? So, that is the Rostow's development stages. Okay, let's go to the next linear growth theory. This is the second one. This is the second theory, the Harrod-Domar model of growth. Okay? It is a model of economic growth. It is used in development economics to explain an economic growth rate in terms of the level of savings and capital. Don't worry, I won't ask you to compute for savings and capital. I just want you to look at this Harrod-Domar model using the circular flow model as well. Okay? It suggests that there is no natural reason for an economy to have balanced growth. The model was developed independently by Roy F. Harrod in 1939 and then by F.C. Domar in 1946. That's why tinawag itong Harrod-Domar model of growth theory. I want you to look at this one. South Korea and Philippines, let's try to compare them. I got these numbers, these digits from World Bank. In 1960 daw, Korea has $158 GDP per capita. Ha? Yan ang GDP per capita ni South Korea, $158. Ang sa Pilipinas ay $254. Kung titignan nyo, ang laki ng difference, no? 1960 yan, ha? And then 2018, si South Korea is already $31,362 GDP per capita, while the Philippines is only $3,100. Ayan. Malaki ang difference kasi South Korea, siguro, idadaan ko sa ganito. Merong isang saying sa economics na once you experience growth, you will always find to make it grow even more. So parang ganun ang in-apply ni South Korea nung na-experience na niya ang growth around 1980s, 1975 ganun. Nag-start na siyang maka-experience ng growth. Ayun. Diretso na. Okay, I just wanted to show you that one kasi we'll be using that for your assignment next week. Harrod-Domar model of growth. Merong tatlong assumptions ang model na to. Okay? The first one is savings leads to investment. If we're going to translate it into formula, it will be savings S is equals to I. Okay? Investment leads to changes in capital stock. Okay? Capital stock, we mean yung mga purchases tapos na may future gains. Okay? Just like investments. Okay? Kung ita-translate ito into formula, it's I is equals to change in K. While constant capital output ratio is R is equals to K over Y. Because when we mean about output, that is Y, that is GDP. So kung titignan nyo lang yung mga formulang yan, simple lang ang ibig niyang sabihin. Dagdagan ng savings para tumaas ang investment. Pag tumaas ang investment, tataas ang capital stock. Kapag tumaas ang capital stock, tataas ang GDP. That's how simple it is. Kaya kung babalikan natin what do you call this? Circular flow model. Let's start with the household. Sila ang magsasave, di ba? They will be the one who will save. Diyan papasok si financial market, remember? Di ba? Si household, kapag yan kumita from land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, meron siyang pambili ng goods and services. At the same time, din sa sobra niya, yun yung ipapasok niya sa financial market as savings. Ano magiging role ni savings kay financial market? Yun ang ipapahiram ni financial market kay business. Remember last week, bakit manghihiram sa business? Okay? We assume in economics, business maglo-loan sa business firm kasi magpa-purchase siya ng mga cost. For what? For expansion, for progress and development of the business, or for starting a new business. Diba? And in doing so, remember, any purchase of the business firm is equals to investment. Diba? So that's how Harrod-Domar model is. Pataasin ang savings para tumaas ang investment, tataas ang capital stock, tataas ang economic growth or yung GDP. Okay? Pero hindi rin nakaligtas si Harrod-Domar model sa mga criticisms ng mga ibang economists. Save. Currently daw, hindi naman daw lahat ng bansa applicable din ang kay Harrod-Domar. Kasi lalo na sa wages and salaries. Maraming mga bansa, lalo na yung mga underdeveloped countries, low-income countries, na yung kinikita ng most of their household is just enough for them to buy their goods and services, to buy what they need and a little bit of what they want. Pero not to the point that they can save. So how are they going to save? How are they going to increase their savings kung doon pa lang sa wages and salaries hindi na enough para makapag-save ang mga tao? So walang magpupush hindi mapupush ang savings, hindi mapupush ang investment, ang capital stock, and so hindi ganun mag-grow ang economy. So that is the Harrod-Domar model. Question before I move on to the next approach. Anyone? Silence means none. So let me continue. Theories and patterns of structural change. This is the second approach. Okay? The structural change theory focuses on mechanism by which underdeveloped economies transform their domestic economic structures from emphasis on traditional subsistence agriculture to modern. So, parang kamukha lang din nung kay Rostow. Kung i-coin natin ng isang salita to define this kind of stages situation, it's called modernization. 'Di ba? From traditional subsistence agriculture to modern, more urbanized and more industrially diverse manufacturing and service economy. May dalawang theories na sikat regarding this structural change. It is about the theory of Lewis and the theory from Hollis. Okay? Pero yung kay Lewis lang muna pag-uusapan natin today. Okay? Ano ba tong the Lewis theory of economic development? It is also known as the dual sector model, okay? Or the Lewis theory. It was proposed by Arthur Lewis in the mid 1960s. To be exact, it's 1954. Okay, sa theory ni Lewis dito, meron siyang assumption. Ang pinaka-assumption lang niya, ang isang ekonomiya daw ay may dalawang distinct sectors lang. There are only two distinct sectors according to Lewis. And these are the capitalist sector, also known as the urban or industrial sector. And the second distinct sector is the subsistence or the traditional agricultural sector. So kung baga, si Lewis, hinati niya yung economy. Sabi niya, may dalawa lang. na economy, may dalawang sectors lang sa isang ekonomiya. The agricultural sector and the industrial sector. Okay? Para hindi kayo malito, yun ang gagamitin ko. Agricultural sector and the industrial sector. Okay? The traditional agriculture, the agricultural, the agriculture sector was assumed to be of subsistence nature, characterized by low productivity, low incomes, low savings, and considerable underemployment. So, sinasabi ni Lewis na yung agricultural sector subsistence lang daw in nature. Kung baga, save. They only produce what they need. Pero ang dami-daming tao doon sa agriculture sector. Paano naman yung hindi naman talaga ganun kakailangan doon? So, kaya nagkakaroon ng low productivity, nagkakaroon ng low income. Kasi parang over-labor na. May surplus of labor na sa agriculture sector. That is according to this model. Okay? Then the industrial sector was assumed to be technologically advanced with high levels of investment, operating in an urban environment. Okay? So, ganon ang dalawang sector sa isang economy. Sabi pa ni Lewis suggested that modern industrial sector would attract workers from rural areas. Diba? Parang sinasabi niya, oy, lipat na kayo dito. Dito na lang kayo kasi hindi ganyan kalaki ang income dyan sa agriculture sector. So dito na lang kayo sa industrial sector. So, industrial firms kasi offers wages that would guarantee a higher quality of life. Siyempre, dito malaki ang sahod. Mas mabibili nyo yung mga gusto nyo. Wala namang effect sa agricultural sector kung umalis kayo kasi may iwan pa rin dyan yung mga farmers nyo dyan. Sila pa rin ang magwo-work at mapoproduce pa rin nila yung mga needs nila, yung mga kailangan nila. So, lipat na kayo dito. As the level of productivity was so low in traditional agriculture areas, yun nga, sinasabi ko, people living in rural areas would have virtually no impact on an output daw. Kasi nga, they just produce what they need. The amount of food available to the remaining villagers would increase as the same amount of food could be shared amongst fewer people. Generate surplus which could then be sold, generating income. Those people that move away from the villages to the towns would earn increased incomes. Yun nga. Dito na, lipat na dito. So kung titignan nyo, that cycle, magpupush ang higher incomes generate more savings. So dahil yung mga surplus of labor sa agriculture lumipat na dito, mas kumikita na sila. So, kung mas kumikita sila, mas magpupush yan ng savings. Tapos, mag-i-increase ang savings means mag-i-increase ang investment. Increase in investment means more capital and increased productivity. Higher wages, more incentive to move from low productivity agriculture to high productivity industry. And the cycle goes on. Ganun lang kasimple ang gustong ipahiwatig ni Lewis sa kanyang theory. That this agricultural sector ay lacking over supply ng labor. So, dapat lumipat dito sa industrial sector. Pero syempre, kahit ganyan kasimple lang ang theory ni Lewis, may nabutas pa rin ng mga ibang economists. So, nagkaroon pa rin ito ng criticisms. Okay? Ang pinaka na-criticize is, yun nga, too much assumption na ang agriculture ay subsistence. Okay? Nakalimutan na ang magsasupply daw ng ang fuel ng industrial sector ay manggagaling sa agricultural sector. The raw materials, the intermediate products that will be used to be manufactured by the industrial sector will be coming from the agricultural sector. But because of that, syempre, ang mangyayari, hindi na magkakabalance. Oo, may surplus of labor sa agricultural in season. How about in the season na kailangan talaga ng mga tao, lalo na sa harvest season, di ba? So, nandito na lahat. Kung titignan nyo ang picture na sinasabi about sa Lewis theory of model, it's like parang Philippines. When people from provinces, they keep on going to the metro, they keep on going to the city, to the Metro Manila, to Makati. They keep on going there because they believe there is higher income there. They have more incentives there, and there is more investment there. So, 'di ba? Napag-iiwanan. Iyan ang hindi makontrol dyan, nag-e-end up, nagiging overpopulated na to. Okay? Other aspects, yes, this place could have grown in economic growth, in its economic growth, pero how about the other aspects? So, that's the picture. That's the theory of the Lewis theory of economic development. Questions? Question? Okay. Actually, I'll be asking you to work on the comparative economic development between the Philippines and South Korea. Oops, wag masyadong maging advanced. Simple lang ang pinapagawa ko. Magko-conclude lang kayo. Okay? As in, a paragraph will do. Okay? I want you to look at this one. Ay, wait lang. Ay, ano yun? Ay, ba't nawawala? Here. Nakikita ba yan? Can you see that one? Oy. Nakikita ba?
Yes po, sir.
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes po.
Very good. Okay. This is from Google. Okay. The public data on Google. You can search this one, GDP from blah blah. Ayan. Ang sinearch ko lang dito, GDP per capita of the Philippines, 1960. Tapos, you can adjust it here kung sino yung mga gusto mong ipag-compare. Okay? So, ang pinili ko is actually Korea and Philippines. Okay? Kung titignan nyo dito, ang Philippines yung red, it's $254. Tapos, ang Korea is blue, $158. Okay? Tapos, punta tayo dito sa 1975. Si Philippines ay $360. GDP per capita to Tapos, si South Korea is 615 na siya.